Hello, hello. We are here live on February 28th, 2023 for the daily transmission. So say hello when you arrive, or if you're watching the replay, I'd love to hear from you too. I'm here live on Instagram. I'm also here on Twitch. Damn it, my Instagram is doing this again. It keeps like flashing like pause due to poor connection. I don't really understand what is happening. Maybe it's just simply because I'm going live on, I don't know. Let me know if it's working, if you're here. If it's not, then we'll just catch it later on the podcast. And thank goodness I am doing this on Twitch as well. So if you want to join me there, it is twitch.tv/Mama Capricorn with an underscore at the end. So we'll see how this goes on Instagram. And if it ends up not working, then at least we know that this one is going well. So I will also, of course, upload this later to YouTube. The audio will be on my podcast later, and the podcast is the same thing. It is the daily transmission. Yeah, my Instagram is just like freaking out right now. So we're just going to close it. Yeah. Okay. I'm so sorry. It's all right. You know what? This is like the magic of live television, right, people? Yeah. Let's just go ahead. It's okay. Discard video. Great. Okay. Yeah, we'll figure out what Instagram's deal is later. Okay. Hi, friends. Welcome to the show. So also part of the reason that you may be like, oh, where's like the fun background situation? Twitch fam, the studio, maybe I just don't have the right computer. I don't know. It always makes my processor run not great. And I don't love it. The replay ends up being a little bit like glitchy, and there are moments that cut out, but not so much when I stream through Zoom, and it gives me the audio right away. So it's like very easy to upload it to everything. You don't need this information. We have a void, of course, Gemini moon today. It has transitioned into my first house. And so I'm also transparently, it's the day one of my cycle. So like, I am not as verbally eloquent as maybe I typically am. No one blooms every single day, right? No one is the same energy every single day. So, and if they appear that they do, it's because it's engineered. And I take great pride in not putting on a front, I guess, or just like, yeah, I want to be here as I am for you and be transparent. So yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Mine's been good, and then also not, but that's my responsibility, right? My daughter and we can sometimes just like, I mean, whatever, I guess parents and kids getting into it in the mornings is like a very tired story. It's just, yeah, I allow it to disturb my inner peace when we have the same things happen all the time. It's like she won't wake up, or like she won't get dressed, or she will wake up, but then she won't get dressed, and she'll wait until the last like 5 minutes before we have to leave the house. And I'm just like, I have things to do. Like, I need to prepare for my day. Like, I have other things to do. And, you know, I let it disturb my inner peace. But the thing is I make sure when I like, before I drop her off, we even like get to the car, I'm already like letting her know me losing my temper in a moment, or me getting frustrated or expressing frustration in a moment is not, it's my responsibility, right? That is my responsibility to maintain my inner peace and to respond in a healthy way, or to step away for a second if I need to take a breath or whatever it is that I should do, so that I can come back and, you know, be a respectful human being to another human being. Doesn't matter if it's my kid, doesn't matter who it is. She's 7. She's a person. She deserves respect. Nobody deserves to be yelled at or to be spoken down to. So gate 37, not right. So yeah, the sun is in the 37th, is activating the 37th gene right now. And that, of course, I talked about a little bit yesterday. It is the gene of, it's the way of equality. The highest version of this, of course, being tenderness, being tender with yourself, being tender with other people. And then, of course, us like stepping out of that shadow expression of essentially victimhood, but it is like weakness, right? It's this like perceived weakness that we believe for whatever reason that we are incapable, right? So I lose my temper or whatever. It's not that I am incapable, right? Okay, maybe my threshold is like a little bit lower than usual today. That means that there's all the more reason for me to like be aware of that, have self-awareness and step away. That's my responsibility to know myself. It's not a weakness, that I'm in a low energy point today, or that I'm more emotional than usual today. It's not a weakness. I simply need to like be more tender with myself today, right? And still be tender with the people around me. And even more so, it's almost like the more we feel that shadow part of us, that part of us that perceives us to be weak, and when we're weak, it allows us to be in victimhood. And of course, victimhood allows us to be in defensive mode or offensive mode, or simply just like we are us against the world, and none of that is true. And it starts with not allowing, or not even not allowing, because okay, I don't want you to like suppress that inside of you. We need to take a look at it, right? It's awareness, and then acceptance, and then an embrace, right? That's very much like the transition that we should be making to get from our shadow and into our gifts. So that's something, whether you have the 37th gene or whether that is something that is activated in your profile or not, is not actually relevant. We all have access to all of it. And especially now, because the sun is activating this, right? And so anyway, I just, I guess what I was where I was going with all of that is that it's a void of course, Gemini moon today. And with the sun activating the 37th gene at the same time, and with us having this like incoming Aries like conjunction situation, like triple whammy conjunction with Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron. And actually there's like another asteroid over there, Vesta too. So much going on in Aries. So, okay, there may be a little bit of a like tendency to pop off today, or to kind of allow your words to get away from you, but and especially if you're in that shadow, right? If you're perceiving yourself as weak, if you're perceiving yourself as not being an asset, if you're perceiving yourself as, well, why would anybody need me? Or why would anybody care about that? Or why would anybody care about what I have to say? Or why would anybody, right? If you're in that place of just like a lesser than, you're like building some completely subjective hierarchy in your own mind of like, some people are higher and some people are lower, and you're like placing yourself in that lower, where did that come from? Why? Can you be more tender with yourself? Something that I asked you to do yesterday, if you tuned in, if you were listening, it's so fun to like repurpose this, because I can see like some people watch it on YouTube later, some people watch it on Twitch later, some people listen to the podcast later, and so wherever it is that you are, hi, I love you, welcome, I'm so happy that you're here, and if you listen to what I asked you to do yesterday, right, to get curious, to use that Gemini moon energy, not to like judge yourself, or but just to observe and examine your thoughts and your perception of things, and to get like curious with yourself, like, well, where did that come from? Why do I think that? Is that actually true? Is it objectively, like, universally true, the same way that gravity works, right? So it's like, I'm emotional, so I can't be a leader, right? That was definitely something that I thought for a long time, especially in the workplace. I thought that, like, oh, I'm very empathetic, I'm very compassionate, I have big feelings, and I can't, like, not express them. It just, sun conjunct moon, like, like, me and my feelings are very in the eighth house, very comfortable with one another. I cried on the podcast fucking yesterday, so, like, okay, you get it. And so for a long time I thought, well, that is, like, you can't be a leader in a workplace, you can't be seen as a professional, you can't be seen as, like, well, why though? Where did that come from? Is that objectively true? Probably not. No, I learned that from, like, society, from the patriarchy, I guess. I don't know. What was another one? Oh, I've been talking about this with one of my clients recently. So people are always really shocked when they meet me in person, because I'm 4'10", like, I'm very small. And when you, like, someone pointed it out, she's like, I saw you in your video on your yoga mat and you just look so small on your yoga mat. And I'm just like, oh yeah, like, I'm really small. People just, like, don't know, because I guess I have, like, a very big personality on the internet, which it's not, like, it's totally a character, I guess, because I'm probably like 40% in real life. Okay. Like 40-50%, right? But you, like, take it up a notch when you're on stage, when you're on the internet or whatever. And so people think that I'm just, like, this big, like, like a tall, like, lady, I guess. I don't fucking know. But for a long time, I was so insecure about that. And I thought people wouldn't listen to me, people wouldn't respect me, that people just, like, don't take me seriously, that people are always going to see me as, like, a kid, which, it's so funny because I literally just, like, posted a story this morning about, like, I'm really feeling myself because I was reading A Course in Miracles again. Like, I sit in front of the yoga studio. It's just nice because I get to kind of, like, watch the sunrise and, like, listen to the birds, and it's a nice, like, morning thing. It's better than sitting in my car and just, like, letting the car run. I don't know. So I sit there in the morning, and do some reading. And so after class, someone asked me, like, if I'm reading for school, and I was just like, no. Do I look like I'm in high school or something? Or, like, even college? I'll take that because I'm fucking 34, which I guess, like, you can go to college whenever. But anyway, I just thought that that was, such an interesting response for me to have now, because for such a long time it was like, oh no, I'm going to look young forever. Oh no, like, people are never going to take me seriously. And people take youth seriously. Like, this, like, Greta Thunberg is, like, what, 19, 20, something like that. She's got a international stage. Age is not, right? Age, height, gender, right? Like, orientation, like, literally none of these rules actually are true. There's always, you can find an exception to that rule that your mind has told you, like, is your weakness, right? You can always find it. This is part of, actually, like, my book, when you get down to the process of it, because it's okay if you recognize that this is not, this thought that you're having, this feeling that you're having about yourself, that this rule that you've created is not objectively true. Well, then you get to go deeper into that curiosity, like, loop, and ask yourself, well, where did that come from then? And usually, and this is not, like, a cut and dry, like, all, encompassing rule, but because of how the mind works, before age 7, you lack like reasoning skills, like the logic part of your mind has not yet begun to form. And that's why kids will believe like anything that you tell them, right? Like kids believe in Santa or like the tooth fairy and shit like this, right? And it's not because it is like, it's not because, you know, for any other reason, but that they literally like lack the logic to deny it. They're like, oh yeah, of course, like the person, like the people who inform me about how life goes told me about this, so it must be true. And so anything that you say around your kids, by the way, especially before age 7, starts to like, it permeates their unconscious mind and forms rules. I'm thinking about like body image stuff, right? Like I did pageants from 18 months old until 6 years old. And I just was realizing the other day with my boyfriend, he'll do this thing. I don't know like why, I don't know. He's like deadpan, like joking with me. And he'll just like give me I feel my perception of what I am seeing is a judgmental stare. And he was like, no, I was just like admiring you. My brain did not see that. And I'm going to believe what he told me, because why would I believe otherwise? But if I ask myself, like, okay, is it objectively true? Like people stare at you, therefore they must be like judging you in a negative way. They're judging you, period. Judging you, positive, negative, it doesn't matter. It's judgment. That they're staring, therefore their staring equals judgment. Where did that come from? Because that's not objectively true. Well, where did that come from? Well, it came from the first 7 years of my life where people stared at me constantly. And it was specifically, they were called judges. Like it was specifically for the purpose of judging my physical appearance and how I spoke and how I acted, and was I poised, and did I have the right answers. This impacts the way that you perceive everything for the rest of your life, unless you take a good fucking look at yourself and your thought patterns. So today, I know, right? I'm like, this is all kind of building on itself. And that's how the genes work, because right now we're in, so each gate, each gene that we go through is about 6 degrees of the astrological wheel. So today we're in the 5th part, right? And so these are called the lines. This is all coming from the I Ching. And so today we're in 37.5. And so 5 is like a mirror, right? So I always think about, honestly, I think about Jesus when I think about the line 5, because it's like someone who has something like you believe in something, or like you have conviction about something, and it's like people are constantly wanting to project themselves onto you, or just like are determined to misunderstand it. And that's not like cut and dry always. But the line 5 is about like being the embodiment of a teacher. Some people are going to take the lesson, and some people are going to take the lesson hard. And yeah, Jesus, I feel like, is like the epitome of that, because it's like literally being crucified for your beliefs, you know, because people were like misinterpreting, misunderstanding, like, I'm the son of God, like, oh, me too. Oh, but like you too, you know, it's just like total, like one person saying one thing and they are hearing something else, perception, right? I wrote this down. I know this is so silly. I just feel like I had to share this with you. This was running in my mind last night because my boyfriend was listening to some like news thing, and some news thing. What an like he's listening to Breaking Points. But then also we watched that, I think it's the latest episode of John Oliver, and they were talking about ChatGPT and AI, and particularly, you know, like that weird conversation, like the weird conversations that it's having sometimes, you know, with some people. And I don't know, just like the implications and what it means. And the part that really stood out to me was this moment where they said that they prompted the AI to write a bio for a philosopher who didn't exist, right? They like made up the name, like write a bio for like, and they put in, right, some like, I believe it was like some French sounding name. And then the AI just like confidently spat out a bio for this imaginary person, but like with details and like facts about this person. And so what they call it when the AI confidently invents facts when prompted, right? They call it hallucinating. That took me out, y'all. They call it hallucinating. They say the AI is hallucinating. And I just feel, I feel like they're trying to tell us, like, pss, 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 you're in a video game. You know what I mean? Like the simulation, you know? Because what the fuck, man? Like, I'm telling you that you invent facts all day long through your perception of the information around you. And the facts are not facts. They're only facts in your mind. And you're like hallucinating. Like I'm hallucinating that my boyfriend is judging me all day because he looks at me. Because he looks at me, someone looks at me and therefore they're judging me. And so what else does that do? Creates all kinds of rules like, oh, you have to look a certain kind of way before you're seen by people. Oh, you can't go out looking like that. Oh, are you gonna go out looking like, are you gonna wear that? Right? Pink is such a better color on you. Or whatever, you know, like all these, so many things. Oh my gosh, shaving my head. Whew. The first time I cut my hair, I vividly remember my biological mother being like so upset and like talking specifically about the pageants, like cutting my hair was going to hurt my, like, I'm no longer beautiful. Oh, my beauty's in my hair. And we invent, like we hallucinate then like the results around us, like those stories that are in our mind inform everything else. It informs the way that we perceive the opportunities that come our way, the way that the tone that people have when they reach out to us. Like, I know people who like think that people are like hate watching them on their like Instagram stories, or like, where do you get that? Why do you think that they're hate watching you? You know, I truly believe, like, and here's the thing. If it's true, I know this is going to sound really weird. If that's true, that our perception defines, right, the reality, that our perception defines the way that our reality basically like exists around us. Because again, it's like, if I believe that I'm small and therefore I'm small, I'm emotional, so I'm not going to be seen as a professional or a leader, well, what jobs am I going to apply for? Am I going to apply for those leadership jobs? No, because I don't want to be rejected. Okay. And so like, would I look like this if I wanted to be, right, employed, or if I thought that like no one's going to hang out with my daughter at school if she's got a weird mom? What the fuck do I have to do with anything? If anything, I'm the coolest mom there. Okay. Right? All kinds of things. And so I need you to understand that like the reverse is true too. So it's like, you can almost like someone staring at you, like believe that they are like checking you out. Just believe it. And if they are, like, I feel like it's so much better. Like, why would I not? If I am creating my reality anyway, all of this is just a basic ass simulation. If I'm inventing the rules about like what happens to me, why am I gonna and like build the best possible like God mode? Like, I don't care. Manic pixie fucking dream girl it. Okay. I don't give a fuck. Because like, this is my experience, like my simulate, like I'm only experiencing this through my own lens here. And obviously, I feel like this goes without saying, but maybe you don't know me that well, like harm none, like, right? Do you harm none if what you desire, what you think you desire, which nothing that you desire actually would hurt people. Like, at least I don't think so. Yeah. Do you? It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody for you to show up on Instagram or, right, like start your TikTok or whatever the fuck it is you want to do. It's not going to hurt you to, I don't know, walk up to somebody at, yoga or at the gym or wherever it is you hang, like ask them if they want to like go out for coffee later. It's not going to hurt you. Like, and if they say no, also, it's not about you. I don't know. I'm in a very impersonal space right now. Not depersonalized, but more so like I don't know, both experiencing the beauty of like self-awareness and personal responsibility, while at the same time, like very much appreciating the oneness of like everything. I had every intention of showing you the gene keys today. And this, I guess, would be more for people who are watching this on video. So if you are listening to the podcast, maybe come check out the YouTube or the Twitch replay at some point. What I want to do is just pull open just really quick, because I forget how long I've been doing this sometimes. Like, I've been working with online business owners and like working online in general, like helping, I've been a service provider. How old is my kid? Since 2014. 2014 is when I started freelancing and taking it more seriously. And then 2017 is when I started coaching. 2018 is when I pulled astrology and human design into things. That exited in 2021. But I've retained astrology and the gene keys. Now, I've been talking about astrology a lot, obviously, just because I feel like it is more accessible. I know I say accessible from a very like maybe, I don't know, astrologically like intuitive, like privileged standpoint. I don't know, but I feel like people, right? It's a very old language. People have known about astrology for a very long time. It transcends culture, it transcends language. But with that said, gene keys obviously does not. This is something that was that comes from individuals, like it's a modern language, but I really love the gene keys. I love the gene keys for so many reasons. And if you're someone who's into human design, I'm just going to transparently say it, like, I'm not a human design person. While I respect your model of the world, it is not something that I don't want it in my space, and I don't want to talk about it. The primary reason that I prefer astrology and Gene Keys is that it is non-hierarchical. Okay. So there is no hierarchy of the signs. There is no hierarchy of, the planets or whatever. Like there are some that maybe have more relevance in different areas of your life. But that's not like, you're not a better person, or you're not more special for being a Capricorn, or for having, a trine or some, you know what I mean? Like it's not like that. And the same goes for the Gene Keys. They're very unifying, right? That it is, that it's just about you, and it's not supposed to tell you what to do or how to do it. It's supposed to give you something to contemplate and something to like come back home to. Because every time, like when you go through your Gene Keys, and especially if you go through it with someone who is like intuitive and understands how to communicate this in a way that is impactful, and you can like do exercises and like grow through this, it feels just like unlearning all of the rules and all of the things that have clouded your perception and closed you off from the things that have always been meant for you. There are, right, so this is the full profile. And then we have 3 individual sequences. So we've got the activation sequence. This is very much about the self, about who you are, and helping you to develop, right, the beginning of that self-awareness and to come home to yourself. Then we have the Venus sequence, especially with what I was saying earlier about like going into like, well, where did I get that from? Like, where did that rule come from? Where did that perception block or whatever come from? A lot of times we're going to find some answers here in the Venus sequence. The Venus sequence helps you to open your heart to others, right? So that you can begin to experience real love and appreciation, and be able to give people an honest, transparent version of you, and be able to receive that love in return. And then there are some of these like specific spheres that we have in here that go into like different time frames in your life, right? So from your core, like when you were like in the womb, and then your first 7 years, and then adolescence, and then your early adulthood, or early childhood, early adulthood, however you want to, like, I don't know, people perceive of different ages at different times. But that will help you to like unpack some of those stories, especially if you are not like trained in rooting them out or in finding them. And then finally, we have the Pearl sequence. And the Pearl sequence, I mean, it's most easily simplified as like the career, right, or vocation, which it does even like say here. But this is more about like being of service, and receiving prosperity, right? So it talks a lot in the Gene Keys about the difference between like wealth, right, and being prosperous. And I think that that's so like second house, eighth house, like very much the energy that I talk about all the time. And so it's about like this building block that, you are this whole person. You can see here that like some of the spheres, they like come from one to the next. So this one will be both in the activation sequence and in the Venus sequence. This one will be both in the Venus sequence and in the Pearl. And it's because you are a whole being. And that's why so many of us do seek a career that is fulfilling, right? That is like soulful, because we're talking about the core wound. We're talking about like your purpose and who you are. I understand. Here I am doing it, you know what I mean? Wanting to have your career, have your vocation be something that is fulfilling. But this is not, don't get it twisted as we go through your gene keys. It's not gonna, it's still not gonna do what, you know, people want to act like astrology can do for you. It's not gonna, oh, well, yes. Okay. So, you know, 8, style. Okay. Self-acceptance. Great. You should be a personal stylist. Right? Like, no, it's not going to say that. Like, you should, no, it's not going to tell you who you are or what you are, right? It's not going to, and that's another reason that I love this so much more than human design is that there are no boxes around who you are. There are no definitions of, well, this is something you are, and this is something that you're not. And so don't do that, right? And it's, I'm not going to go into that right now, but you can join my Discord if you want to get into it, respectfully, because truly, like, this is just my perception, and my perception is not correct or incorrect. It is simply mine. And so that is really what I want to like impress upon you. Like, take what you want and leave the rest. Okay. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to like maybe try and update Instagram or something. I just don't know why it's not happening for me over there right now. Who do we need to hear from? Mars. And yes, we do. Mars. It is the day of Mars. It's Tuesday. Mars says, get the fuck out there. Do your thing. Mars is in Gemini too. Moon's conjunct Mars today. They say, hey, go like converse with people, go have a conversation with people, and don't take shit too personally today. Like, for real, try to keep it, don't try to keep it light, but like, just try to, right? Remember Fanny, and remember like not depersonalizing, but like just not, you don't understand what other people, what their past, what their experience, what their mindset is today, what their physiological, right? People might be hangry when you're trying to, you know, ask them to hang out. I don't know. They might have shit to do, you know, you never know. So that's all I'm saying is don't take anything too personally. And when you feel yourself get into that shadow, into that like victim of like weakness, or no, I can't, or oh no, that's not for me. Like, but why? And just why, where did that come from? And just try to examine like a scientist today. And we will close out Gene 37 tomorrow. There's so much going on the rest of the week. I'm hyped. I love y'all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Make good choices, and I will see you later.